Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we are going to be going through a little priority TBR for me. So I've picked out 5 books that I need to read by 2023. There are a number of reasons why these are the top 5 books on my end of the year TBR. It may be because I have friends who are endlessly begging me to read these books. It may be because I have been dying to read them for months but keep putting them off. It may be because I have just received them in the mail and I need to push them to the top of my TBR. Either way, these are the 5 books that I am going to try and prioritise for the end of 2022. So if you would like to know what is on my end of the year TBR, then just keep watching. So the first book I have is one that I've actually mentioned a few times on my channel already. I think it's been on maybe 2 TBRs by now, but it needs to be read by the end of the year. I keep talking about how much I want to read it. I read another book recently that really reminded me of the synopsis of it and it made me want to read it even more. But for some reason I still have not got round to it, and that is Anatomy by Dana Schwartz. This one has been doing the rounds on Bookstagram recently, which is another reason that I really want to read it. I just keep seeing this gorgeous cover all over Bookstagram and keep remembering that I have this on my shelf and I am yet to pick it up. So this one is set in Edinburgh in 1817 and it says, Hazel Sinnott is a lady who wants to be a surgeon more than she wants to marry. Jack Cutter is a resurrection man who's just trying to survive in a city where it's too easy to die. When the two of them have a chance encounter outside the Edinburgh Anatomist Society, Hazel thinks nothing of it at first, but after she gets kicked out of renowned surgeon Dr. Beecham's lectures for being the wrong gender, she realises that her new acquaintance might be more helpful than she first thought, because Hazel has made a deal with Dr. Beecham. If she can pass the medical examination on her own, Beecham will allow her to continue her medical career. Without official lessons though, Hazel will need more than just her books, she'll need corpses to study. Luckily then that she knows someone who digs them up for a living. But Jack has his own problems. Strange men have been seen skulking around cemeteries, his friends are disappearing off the streets, and the dreaded Roman fever, which wiped out thousands a few years ago, is back with a vengeance. Nobody important cares until Hazel. Now Hazel and Jack must work together to uncover the secrets buried not just in unmarked graves, but in the very heart of Edinburgh society. Like, what about that blurb does not sound amazing? It's set in Edinburgh, it sounds quite gothic and dark and dreary. It's described as a gothic tale full of mystery and romance. The idea of having this strong female character in 1817 who knows what she wants from life and wants to push the boundaries of what is available to her gender. Honestly, I just think this could be a new favourite. I do know that Christy read it and she wasn't completely sold on it, but we shall see. I may still love it. We do tend to differ in opinions sometimes. So I am looking forward to this nonetheless, and I am definitely going to make it a priority in the next month and a half. Next up I have one that both Maddie and Christy have been begging me to pick up for a while now, and that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This one, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what it's about. All I know is that everyone loves this book. It's so many people's new favourite book. Maybe not of all time, but definitely of the year, and I definitely want to know why. I also am in love with this edition, like the blue sprayed edges. This is the Waterstones edition. This cover is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, let's find out what this one is about together. The blurb says, this is not a romance, but it is about love. 2 kids meet in a hospital gaming room in 1987. One is visiting her sister, the other is recovering from a car crash. The days and months are long there. Their love of video games becomes a shared world of joy, escape and fierce competition. But all too soon that time is over, fades from view. When the pair spot each other 8 years later in a crowded train station, they are catapulted back to that moment. The spark is immediate and together they get to work on what they love. Making games to delight, challenge and immerse players, finding an intimacy in digital worlds that eludes them in their real lives. Their collaborations make them superstars. This is the story of the perfect worlds Sadie and Sam build, the imperfect world they live in, and of everything that comes after success. Money, fame, duplicity, tragedy. Okay, yeah, that does sound rather good. It sounds like it's going to be quite a tearjerker, I'm not going to lie. I feel like I could cry at this one, but it sounds like it's going to be just a beautiful story about identity and finding your place in a world that you maybe don't quite fit into, finding a happy place in a rather dark world. Yeah, I can see why people are begging me to read this, and I'll definitely be making it a priority for the end of 2022. Next up I have one that is on my November TBR, and I am putting it in this video to hold me accountable accountable to actually read it. That is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. You guys all know what this one is about by now, I would think. It is doing the rounds on every book platform possible. It is of course the sequel to It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which I absolutely adored. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, as I do for most of Colleen Hoover's books. And in this one, I believe we get both Lily and Atlas's perspectives, and we'll get to learn a little bit more about Atlas both before, during It Ends With Us, and now after. And we also get to find out what is happening to Lily and Ryle and Atlas in the years after It Ends With Us. And I'm really excited to read it. I have said before, I am skeptical, I am a little bit worried, because it didn't feel like a book that needed a sequel, but it also feels like a book that I would love to have a sequel to. Like, I do want to know what happens next, but I'm just worried it's not going to live up to the first book. So we shall see. I am trying to remain optimistic. Fingers crossed it lives up to the hype. Alright guys, my camera did just die, so I apologise if the angle has completely changed, but we are continuing on. The show must go on. The next book I have on my end of the year TBR is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is the Fairy Loot edition. It is the November adult book, and it is stunning. Okay, like as soon as this came, I wanted to drop absolutely everything, pick it up immediately. However, I do have other books that I really need to finish first. So yeah, absolutely dying to get to this one. I am not gonna lie, once again, I had absolutely no idea what this book was about, other than that I'd heard so many people say it was incredible. And I was speaking to Maddie and Christy the other night, and they were telling me that this is actually from the perspective of one of Dracula's wives, which, I'm sorry, that is like one of the best ideas I've heard for a book ever. The blurb says, "This is my last love letter to you, though some would call it a confession. Saved from the brink of death by a mysterious stranger, Constanta is transformed from a medieval peasant into a bride fit for an undying king. But when Dracula draws a cunning aristocrat and a starving artist into his web of passion and deceit, Constanta realises that her beloved is capable of terrible things. Finding comfort in the arms of her rival consorts, she begins to unravel their husband's dark secret. With the lives of everyone she loves on the line, Constanta will have to choose between her own freedom and her love for her husband. But bonds forged by blood can only be broken by death." I mean, does that not just sound like amazing? Like, I'm a little bit speechless. S.T. Gibson's sensational novel is the darkly seductive tale of Dracula's first bride, Constanta. Now I want to pick it up even more. This is not okay. I need to finish other books that I am currently reading first, but yeah. This, I think, just went to the top of the list of my priority TBR. There's no question about it, I will be reading this before 2023. And finally, the last book on my end of the year TBR is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. As you guys will know, I have been 100% getting back into my fantasy era recently, and this is now a huge priority in the fantasy world for me. I have heard such amazing things about this book. I know, once again, a lot of people call this one of their favourite books of all time. I know Ashleigh from A Frolic Through Fiction absolutely loves this book, which just makes me even more excited to read it. This one says, "Welcome to the Alexandrian Society. When the world's best magicians are offered an extraordinary opportunity, saying yes is easy. Each could join the secretive Alexandrian Society, whose custodians guard lost knowledge from ancient civilizations. Their members enjoy a lifetime of power and prestige, yet each decade only 6 practitioners are invited to fill 5 spaces. Contenders Libby Rhodes and Nico de Verona are inseparable enemies, cosmologists who can control matter with their minds. Parisa Kamali is a telepath who sees the mind's deepest secrets. Reina Mori is a naturalist who can perceive and understand the flow of life itself. And Callum Nova is an empath who can manipulate the desires of others. Finally, there's Tristan Kane, whose powers mystify even himself. Following recruitment by the mysterious Atlas Blakely, they travel to the Society's London headquarters. Here, each must study and innovate within esoteric subject areas, and if they can prove themselves over the course of a year, they'll survive. Most of them. This just sounds like an incredibly interesting, quite a dark fantasy read. It sounds like it's going to be one with a really interesting magic system and very high stakes, obviously. I've heard amazing things. I've heard amazing things about the writing, and I just cannot wait to find out what I think of it. So that is it for the top 5 books I need to read before 2023. As you can tell, I am ridiculously excited for all of these. I am using this video to hold me accountable, to make sure that I do actually read these before the end of the year. Maybe we can look back at this video in 2023, do a little reaction, see if I actually did read any of these books. No, I'm gonna read them. I am. This is gonna work. It's gonna work. But that is it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think of these books if you have read any of them. Let me know what is a priority book for you to read before 2023. If you did make it to the end of this video, then pop the sword emoji down below because I have just seen it on the cover of this very book. Pop that emoji down below just to let me know that you made it to the end of this video and that you enjoyed your time here. But as always, if you did enjoy the video, please do give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe for more bookish content from me. Comment down below with any of your thoughts and feelings. I do reply to every single comment. I love you all and I will see you in my next one.